Rose That Withered, Part 2, 3 months later. Chapter 1, The Message. Emma's thumb hovered over the send button for the 15th time that evening. The message glowed on her screen, simple and vulnerable. I hope you're doing okay. I've been thinking about you. Outside her apartment window, January rain hammered against the glass, turning Portland into a watercolor painting of grays and blacks. 3 months had passed since that autumn afternoon, since she'd walked away from Daniel and the wreckage of what could have been. 3 months of telling herself she'd made the right choice. 3 months of not quite believing it. Her sister Maria sat on the couch behind her, folding laundry with aggressive precision. Are you actually going to send it, or are you going to stare at your phone all night like a teenager? I'm thinking. You've been thinking for 2 hours. Send it or delete it, Em. This torture isn't good for you. Emma locked her phone and tossed it onto the coffee table like it had burned her. What if he doesn't respond? Then you have your answer. What if he does respond? Maria paused mid-fold, a towel suspended in her hands. Then you have a different answer. Either way, you'll know. Isn't that better than this? She gestured at Emma's laptop, where her nursing schedule spreadsheet sat open and ignored. You've been half present for 3 months. At work, at family dinners, everywhere. That man broke your heart, and you won't let yourself either heal from it or do something about it. He didn't break my heart. Emma pulled her knees to her chest. That's what makes it so much worse. He never lied about his feelings. Everything he felt was real. He was just broken, grieving, not ready. So why are you texting him? Emma was quiet for a long moment, listening to the rain. Because I keep thinking about what he said, about running from his grief, about using me as a reset button. She picked at the frayed edge of her sweater. I was so angry that day, so hurt. But lately, I keep wondering, was I any different? Maria set down the laundry. What do you mean? My profile said I believe in second chances, right? That everyone deserves another shot at happiness. But the second things got complicated. The second his pain became real instead of theoretical, I walked away. I didn't give him a second chance at all. Em, that's not fair to yourself. He wasn't honest with you. About being widowed, yes, but about his feelings? About trying to build something with me? He was honest about that. Maybe too honest. Emma grabbed her phone again, staring at the unsent message. He told me the truth when it would have been easier to keep lying. That took courage. Or guilt. Maybe both. Emma's finger moved toward the send button again. I need to know if he's okay. If he got help. If he's healing. I need to know that walking away from him didn't make things worse. And if he is healing? Maria asked gently. What then? You think you can just pick up where you left off? No. God, no. But maybe. Emma trailed off, unsure of what she was even hoping for. Closure? Forgiveness? A different ending to a story that had already finished. Before she could overthink it further, she pressed send. The message flew into the digital void, carrying 3 months of questions with it. Emma immediately regretted it, then immediately regretted regretting it. Her phone felt like a grenade in her hand. Well? Maria raised an eyebrow. Well, I sent it. And now I wait. Emma set the phone face down on the table, as if not seeing the screen would make the anxiety less overwhelming. Or maybe I don't wait. Maybe I just accept that some things are meant to stay broken. But even as she said it, she kept glancing at her phone, hoping for the buzz that would mean Daniel had seen it, had read it, had decided she was worth responding to. The buzz never came. Chapter 2, The therapy session. Dr. Patricia Chen's office smelled like lavender. And old books. Daniel had spent 12 weeks in this room, every Tuesday at 4 p.m., sitting on the same uncomfortable but somehow comforting gray couch, trying to excavate the ruins of his life. You're quiet today, Dr. Chen observed, her pen poised over her notepad. She never actually wrote during sessions, but she held the pen like a security blanket, more than usual. Daniel stared at the abstract painting on her wall, swirls of blue and gray that reminded him of drowning. I deleted the app. The dating app? Yeah, last week. Just gone. He snapped his fingers. Felt good, actually. Felt like finally stopping, something I should never have started. Why do you think you should never have started it? You know why. Daniel's jaw tightened. Because I wasn't ready. Because I hurt someone who didn't deserve it. Because I was trying to skip over the hard part of grief and jump straight to healed. Dr. Chen tilted her head slightly. And now I'm doing the hard part. He gestured vaguely at the office, at her, at the process, sitting with it, feeling it, not running from it. Isn't that what I'm supposed to say? There's no supposed to, Daniel. There's only what's true for you. She set down her pen, a gesture that meant she was about to push him somewhere uncomfortable. Tell me about Emma. His stomach clenched at the sound of her name. What about her? You've mentioned her in passing 3 times over the last month. Emma would have liked this movie. Emma used to say something similar. I wonder what Emma would think, but you've never actually talked about her, about what happened. Daniel's hands balled into fists on his knees. I ruined it. End of story. Is it? Yes. The word came out sharp, defensive. I led her on. I let her think I was ready for something real when I wasn't. She deserved better, and I gave her damaged goods. She walked away, and she was right to. There's nothing else to say. But you still think about her. Of course I think about her. Daniel stood abruptly, pacing to the window. Rain streaked down the glass, distorting the city beyond. She was incredible. Smart, funny, kind. She looked at me like I was worth something, like I could be whole again. And I destroyed that in one conversation because I was too much of a coward to be honest from the start. You told her the truth eventually. Too late. Why do you think it was too late? Daniel spun around. Because she left. Because she looked at me like I'd betrayed her, and she was right, I did betray her. I betrayed her trust by not telling her about Sarah and Charlotte from the beginning. Dr. Chen was quiet for a moment, letting his words echo in the small room. Then, carefully, or maybe you betrayed yourself. What? You weren't ready to date. You knew that, deep down. But you forced yourself to try anyway, because everyone around you was saying it was time to move on. You downloaded an app, created a profile, went through the motions, and when you met someone genuinely special, someone who made you feel alive again, the guilt of that overwhelmed you. Daniel sank back onto the couch, his energy suddenly depleted. I felt like I was cheating on Sarah. Every time Emma made me laugh, every time I felt that spark of attraction, it felt like betraying Sarah's memory. That's a very common feeling for widowers. Knowing it's common doesn't make it feel less terrible. No, Dr. Chen agreed, it doesn't. But it does make it something you can work through, rather than something that defines you. She leaned forward slightly. Daniel, you've been coming here for 12 weeks. You've done the hard work of sitting with your grief. You've stopped running from it. You've accepted that Sarah and Charlotte are gone, and that their deaths weren't your fault. The jury's still out on that one. No, it's not. You've done the work. You know, intellectually at least, that there was nothing you could have done. A placental abruption is a medical emergency. Being in that meeting didn't cause it. Missing her call by an hour didn't cause it. It happened, and it was tragic, and it wasn't your fault. Daniel's eyes burned. Then why does it still feel like it was? Because grief isn't rational, and because guilt is sometimes easier to feel than helplessness. If it was your fault, then it means you had control. You could have prevented it. But the truth is scarier, that terrible things happen randomly, that we can't protect the people we love from everything, that control is an illusion. The words hit him like a punch. Daniel covered his face with his hands, breathing hard. I just wanted to save them. I wanted to turn back time and answer her call immediately. I've replayed that day 1,000 times, imagining all the ways I could have changed the outcome. I know, but you can't change it. All you can do is decide how you want to carry it forward. He looked up, vision blurred with unshed tears. What if I don't know how? Then you keep showing up here every Tuesday until you figure it out. Dr. Chen smiled gently. That's the work. Not forgetting them, not moving on from them, but learning to live with them as memory rather than presence. Learning that loving them doesn't mean stopping your life. Daniel nodded slowly, exhaustion settling into his bones. Emma said something similar. That last day, she said I needed to accept that it's okay to carry the grief forward, that it doesn't make me broken. She sounds wise. She is. He laughed weakly. She deserved so much better than what I gave her. Maybe, or maybe she deserved the truth, which you eventually gave her, even when it cost you everything. Dr. Chen glanced at the clock. We're almost out of time, but I want to leave you with something to think about this week. Okay, you've spent 3 months focused on what you did wrong, on how you hurt Emma, on why you weren't ready. What if you spent some time thinking about what went right, about the fact that even in your grief, you were capable of connection, that you met someone who made you want to try again? That's not nothing, Daniel. That's evidence that you're still alive, still capable of feeling, still capable of healing. The session ended, and Daniel walked out into the rainy afternoon, Dr. Chen's words following him like ghosts. His phone, which he'd silenced for the hour, buzzed with notifications, work emails, a text from his mom checking in, a reminder about his gym membership, nothing from Emma. But then, why would there be? He'd made his choice 3 months ago when he'd sat in his empty apartment and watched her rose die. He'd let her go because it was the right thing to do, because she deserved someone whole. He just wished doing the right thing didn't feel so much like losing everything all over again. Chapter 3, Unanswered. 1 week passed, then 2. Emma's message sat in Daniel's deleted apps folder, unread and unanswered, because Daniel had made a promise to himself the day he removed the dating app from his phone. No looking back. But Emma didn't know that. She knew only the silence, which grew heavier with each passing day. She told herself it was fine, that she'd expected this, that Daniel not responding was actually the closure she needed. But late at night, when her apartment was quiet, and her mind wouldn't stop spinning, she wondered if her message had been cruel. A reopening of wounds he was trying to heal. "You're doing it again," Maria said one Sunday over dinner at their parents' house. The whole family was there, 4 sisters, their respective partners, a chaos of nieces and nephews, their mother, presiding over the chaos like a benevolent dictator. Doing what? Emma pushed pasta around her plate, overthinking, spiraling, that thing where you disappear inside your own head. Maria lowered her voice so their mother wouldn't overhear. "He's not going to respond, Em. You need to accept that and move on." "I know. Do you? Because you've checked your phone 17 times since we sat down." Emma set her fork down. I need to understand why. Was the message too much? Not enough? Did I say the wrong thing? Or is he just completely done with me, and I need to accept that? Does it matter? Yes. Emma's voice cracked slightly. It matters because what if my walking away 3 months ago made things worse for him? What if he needed support, and instead I abandoned him because his grief was inconvenient for me? Their younger sister Sophia, sitting across the table, leaned in. "Are we talking about first date Daniel, the widower?" "Sophia, please," Emma started. "No, I'm serious. You've been miserable for months and we've all been tiptoeing around it. Maybe you need to hear this from someone who isn't trying to protect your feelings." Sophia's dark eyes were fierce. "You didn't abandon him. He lied to you, or at least he wasn't honest. You had every right to walk away. But nothing. You can be compassionate about his situation and still acknowledge that what he did hurt you. Both things can be true." Sophia grabbed a breadstick, pointing it at Emma for emphasis. "The question isn't whether you were wrong to leave. The question is whether you want him back." The table seemed to quiet around them, everyone suddenly very interested in their pasta. Emma felt her mother's eyes on her from the head of the table. "I don't know," Emma admitted. "I don't know what I want. I just know that I can't stop thinking about him. About that day. About the look in his eyes when he told me about his wife and daughter. He was so broken and I just left him sitting there." "What were you supposed to do?" Maria asked. "Stay with someone who admitted he was using you as a distraction from his grief?" "He didn't say that exactly. He said he thought of you as a reset button. That's literally the same thing." Emma closed her eyes. "He also said that I became more than that. That getting to know me made him realize he was being selfish. That he wanted to be honest, because I deserved better. Doesn't that count for something?" "Maybe," Sophia conceded. "But it doesn't change the fact that he's not responding to your message. You put yourself out there, and he chose not to engage. That tells you everything you need to know." Their mother finally spoke up, her accented English cutting through the sisters' debate. "Emma, tesoro, come here." Emma obediently moved to sit beside her mother, who cupped her face with warm, flour-dusted hands, the hands that had made every meal, bandaged every scraped knee, held every broken heart. "You have always had too much heart," her mother said softly. "Even as a little girl, you brought home every stray cat, every lost bird. You cried over flowers that died. Your father used to joke that you felt everyone's pain more than your own." "Mama, shh, I'm talking," her mother smiled. "This Daniel, he is another stray, yes? Another broken thing you want to fix. But people are not birds with broken wings, mia figlia. You cannot nurse them back to health and release them into the wild. They have to want to heal themselves, I know that. Do you?" Her mother's eyes, so like Emma's own, were knowing. "Or are you sitting by your phone waiting for permission to save him?" The words hit harder than Emma expected. She pulled away, blinking back tears. "I'm not trying to save him. I just wanted to make sure he was okay. And you sent your message, and he did not respond. So now you know. He is either not okay and not ready to tell you, or he is okay and moving forward without you. Either way, Kara, you must do the same. Move forward. Emma nodded, even though every part of her rebelled against the idea. Moving forward meant accepting that Daniel was gone, that their almost relationship would stay in the past, forever unfinished, that she would never know what might have been if circumstances had been different. But maybe that was the point. Maybe some stories didn't get endings. They just stopped. Chapter 4. The Accident. It happened on a Tuesday, 3 weeks after Emma's message. Daniel was leaving Dr. Chen's office, his mind full of the day's session. They'd talked about forgiveness, specifically forgiving himself. Dr. Chen had given him homework, write a letter to Sarah, telling her everything he'd been holding in for the past year. Not to send anywhere, just to write. To externalize the guilt and grief so it wasn't trapped inside him anymore. He was thinking about what he might say in that letter, how to put into words the way he'd failed her, how to apologize for moving on even though she never could. When he stepped off the curb at a crosswalk, he didn't see the car until it was too late. The impact was shockingly loud, metal and bone, glass and screaming. Daniel felt himself flying, weightless, the world spinning. Then pavement, then pain, then nothing. When Emma's phone rang at 9 p.m. that Tuesday, she almost didn't answer. It was an unknown number, probably spam. But something made her swipe to accept. "Is this Emma Castellano?" A woman's voice, professional and tired. "Yes? Who is this?" "This is Providence Portland Medical Center. I'm calling because you're listed as an emergency contact for Daniel Morrison." The world tilted. "What? No, there must be a mistake. We're not, ma'am. I'm showing you as his in case of emergency contact in his phone. Mr. Morrison was involved in a pedestrian vehicle collision this evening. He's in critical condition in our ICU." Emma couldn't breathe. The phone felt like ice against her ear. "Is he alive?" "He's alive, but he's sustained significant injuries. I can't give you more details over the phone, but if you're able to come to the hospital, you should come now. He's been unconscious since the accident, and we don't know when or if he'll wake up." The line went dead. Emma stood frozen in her apartment, phone still pressed to her ear, her mind trying and failing to process what she'd just heard. Daniel was in the hospital, critical condition, unconscious, and somehow, impossibly, she was listed as his emergency contact. Which meant that 3 weeks ago, when she'd sent that message, "I hope you're doing okay. I've been thinking about you," he hadn't ignored it out of indifference or anger. He'd kept her name in his phone, in his emergency contacts. Despite everything, despite how badly their date had ended, he'd held on to her as the person to call if the worst happened. And now, the worst had happened. Emma grabbed her keys and ran.